Welcome to Unmuzzled Chat. Here we are with StreamYard again. Well, it seems that Starlink modem got delivered to the house down in the valley just yesterday, but now I got to figure out how to get it up here because it's quite a ways away. But anyway, fingers crossed that we don't really have many interruptions and that things run smooth today. Freaking said that phony, didn't I? Tripping over my tongue. Let's go ahead and start off with this giveaway. We are giving this hat away to one of you listeners at a random episode. We're just going to say, enter a keyword into the comment sections on Rumble, and the first one to do so is going to win this hat. Just be sure to stay tuned. We'll congratulate you, and then you got to email the address so we can ship it off to you. My fellow Americans, what is happening to our country? The thing that really boggles my mind at this point is how many of us are just idly sitting by as though things magically are going to fix themselves, as though evil is no longer going to still come knocking at your door. These globalists aren't going to stop unless they're stopped or until they have full tyrannical control. That's so clear. And it's in their freaking manifestos, if you want to call it. And we've brought those receipts and we will continue to bring those receipts. Now, I have a shortage of power today, so we just got to dive in. Let's do a screen share here. On a Stu Peters episode, it just really preyed on my heart. I mean, the whole episode was really good, but this particular father in the battle he was facing with his own child, I can't believe this is where we're at. I mean, Tractor Supply, that's one thing. Harley Davidson, that's another thing. But the way CPS and certain states are allowing certain things is just, it's true evil, folks. And we must rally behind parents like this and help them with their battle. And hopefully we can gain our freaking country back.
Sensitive subject that nobody wants us to talk about, then I think it's pretty obvious that's the thing that we should be talking about.
The Jews will control the world. They don't really care about us.
You know, Michael Jackson tried to warn us back then. We didn't heed that warning. Here comes another warning. It's a true, staunch one. Very blatant, right out in the wide open. It's called Occupied. That film will premiere exclusively on the Stu Peters Network in October.
I look forward to it.
You know, if you've been watching this show for a while, you are probably familiar with our good friend Jeff Younger.
Yes.
Jeff is the devoted father of two sons whose ex-wife declared that one of his boys is actually a transgender girl before moving him to California along with his brother so that she could begin the sex change process, including the chemical castration and eventual genital mutilation of this young boy whose name is James. Now, of course, Jeff is fighting all of this tooth and nail. He has been for years. He's been on this program and others all over the media landscape, fighting with politicians, fighting with law enforcement, fighting with this demonic satanic grip that has its claws deep into the fabric of the United States of America.
It's a young boy.
He has made it his full-time job to defend his son from his ex-wife and the perverted satanic pedophile lobby that she's in league with, right, which wants nothing more than to snatch up kids, strap them to a surgical table and chop their genitals off, right, or if they're little girls, to chop their breasts off and craft fake penises out of a chunk of their thigh.
That is so disgusting. That is so wrong. And I cannot believe as to how Americans have been psyoped into believing that that is what's loving and affirming. The mutilization of children, irreversible surgeries and Lupron, it breaks my heart.
And right now, Jeff is locked in a court battle with his ex-wife in the state of California. Now, this is where she took his son so that she could stand her best chance of having James mutilated. And this is where Jeff has to make his stand. In deep blue California, if you believe in the red-blue construct, in a court system designed to be as hostile to fathers and to families and to reality as humanly possible. This case is, of course, being overseen by a left-wing pro-trans judge. This is truly an activist judge situation, and he's thrown up roadblocks every step of the way trying to stop Jeff from crafting a proper defense and saving his son, James. Just recently, this judge, Mark Juhas, denied all of Jeff's pretrial motions and even barred him from receiving evidence that could save his son. He's effectively told Jeff he's not allowed to fight for James. That Jeff is just going to have to sit on his hands, sit down, go over there and shut up and wait for the courts to make its decision. What kind of country is this? Where a child can be ripped away from his father to be taken across state lines and have his genitals removed because some guy in a robe said so?
It is a country I do not recognize. It is becoming a country I am not proud of. This is disgusting. We must put a stop to this. I'm sorry. We are, as Americans, I'm going to say it frankly, too self-absorbed and selfish. We're too absorbed into our own lives. Just the fact that this isn't happening to your child. Do you know the threats that are lingering? It doesn't even take one of the parents. It could take a school teacher and CPS, and they could take your child. We got to help champion this battle, this father, save this little boy from irreversible damage to his body.
I have been telling you that this is a spiritual battlefield. 100%. This is a good versus evil war, right, with a child's entire life hanging in the balance. And this is much bigger than just one court case, right? Because this isn't an isolated incident. No, not at all. As the trans agenda has been enforced on kids, cases just like Jeff's have started popping up all over the country. And that's a problem that Jeff is trying to bring attention to. Even as he faces an absolute nightmare in his own life, even as he fights day in and day out to save his son, Jeff is fighting for millions of other kids as well to make sure that this madness comes to a screeching halt. Jeff got legislation passed in his home state of Texas to stop the trans castration and mutilation of kids, and he's educated parents on the imminent threats that the transgender lobby presents to their children, including in their schools. Yeah, transgenderism is being presented as a valid lifestyle worthy of praise and adoration by purple-haired freak shows that call themselves teachers and social workers and principals and administrators and school board members and presidents. How did we let this happen?
Right.
Right now, his battle in California is raging on. He joins us now to share more about this. Jeff, thank you for coming back. We always appreciate having you.
Great to be here, Stu. You know, I was just in Judge Mark Juhas's court, and he straight up told me, under no uncertain terms, he even mentioned the law that I passed in Texas, the fact that it was just recently upheld by the Texas Supreme Court. And he brought that up in trial, and I said, well, I wrote that law, so I'm an expert on it. Why don't you ask me some questions about it, Judge, and find out why we did that? And he said, it's the public policy of California to give gender-affirming care to children. That's determined by the legislature, and I'm a faithful servant of the legislature. This man denied me evidence that could save my son. For one thing, we discovered that there was no diagnosis of my son with gender dysphoria. The diagnosis was gotten after they filed the castrate. Think about that for a second. They have no valid medical diagnosis, and they filed the castrate him. And the judge won't let me get access to those medical records. The judge rushed the trial. He only gave us 6 weeks to prepare for a complex trial with complex medical evidence. And the other side has given me no evidence. I still don't know who my son's physicians are. I don't have any what's called competent medical evidence, which actually tells me exactly what tests they ran and so forth. This judge has denied me everything and created procedural roadblocks, much like they did with Trump, where when I go to trial, I won't be able to present the evidence that would save my son. He's made it impossible, and he's doing it for the specific purpose of pursuing the public policy of California, which is to castrate and sterilize children. Let me tell you how bad it is in those records. They are contemplating and talking to my son about removing his testicles, cutting the testicles open so they can get what little sperm might be there, because he's in Tanner stage 4, supposedly, in puberty, and saving that sperm in case he wants to have children later. That's the kind of discussions they're having with my 12-year-old son right now.
No discussions to that nature should be going on with 12-year-old boys or younger or even older. This is a poison. Let's support Jeff Younger in his battle, getting custody of his son.
And this judge is allowing it.
Going all the way back to the beginning of this, Jeff, does your son want to be a girl?
No. My son has told me repeatedly that he only tells his mom he wants to be a girl because that's the only way she'll love him. He told the court-appointed psychologist that he wants to be a boy, and he's embarrassed wearing dresses. The court-appointed psychologist here in Texas threw my son out of the office, instigated a CPS investigation against me for coercing my son, saying he wanted to be a boy. And on the basis of that event, the judge in Texas stripped me of all my parental rights and gave me supervised visitation just because he said he wanted to be a boy. So my son has been, taught under no uncertain terms that he will be punished, his father will be punished if he says he wants to be a boy. So he'll say anything she wants.
The pedophile lobby is working hand in glove with what we documentary, These Little Ones, CPS, to be the largest.
Ooh, if you haven't seen that documentary, These Little Ones, on the Stu Peters Network, just go to stupeters.com. It's a must watch, and how it exposes CPS and how they saved little baby Cyrus, and I'm sure countless others, through just the exposure. But where are all the detransitioners? We should get their voices on here. The statistics are horrific. And this is such a relatively new thing in a sense that it is only going to get worse the longer we let it go on. Got to get ahead of this evil.
Largest child trafficking racket and ring in all of humanity. They're colluding together to physically rip kids away from their parents, from their fathers, threaten to imprison people who object to the mutilation of their children. And then in the state of California, they take and they trap this 12-year-old little boy and start having conversations with him about his semen and what's there in his nuts. I mean,
correct.
Where are we as a serious country? I mean, can we even consider that we're in a serious country at this point?
This is not, first of all, it's not a serious country. I just replied to someone on X, Biden is calling for unity. I'm like, there's no unity here. Like, we can't live in a country with people that want to cut the testicles off little boys. We can't live with these people.
No.
But here's the thing. This is a thing that's been for a long time. It actually was established back in the 1980s. Our enemies think decades ahead. So whenever CPS takes a child from a family, they get hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants from the federal government.
Yeah.
So they have massive financial incentives to do it. Whenever a father doesn't get to see their kids, the government gets paid on the child support. It's in Texas, it's $500 million in incentives.
Incentivized.
They're incentivized to make sure fathers never get equal access to their kids, or all that $500 million goes away.
Wow.
The same thing happens with supervised visitation. There's a grant program. The money goes out in October. So you'll see in July and August, they'll just en masse put just tens of thousands of fathers in these counties onto supervised visitation, and those grants go directly to the county and bypass the state.
Any interaction with CPS as a parent, you best have an auto recorder on quick draw. Better video record every interaction. Your kid's life could be at stake.
So there's massive monetary incentives that the left has created to do all this. And that's just like what our guys are not thinking about. They finance banking and grant incentive institutions in the federal government have all been turned against our morality. And you're not going to overcome this by just exhortations to be moral. You have to change these incentives. And let me tell you, your Republican representatives don't want to talk about this. When you go up at the federal level, why has there never been a federal bill to outlaw transgender procedures on kids? Not one single Republican has put forth a bill to outlaw transgender procedures.
Is that true? Is that true? Not one representative at the federal level?
I can't find a single one. Ken Paxton, Attorney General of Texas, most successful Attorney General in the history of the United States. He's defeated the federal government so many times. He did an opinion on whether these procedures were illegal in Texas. And as part of that, he looked at federal law and he said, you can't sterilize children in federal law.
Right.
It's illegal already.
Wow.
So there's nobody putting these bills forward. Why is that? Massive donors.
Oh my God.
The federal agencies want all this money. The states want all this money from these grant programs. Every child they do this to is a $4.5 million lifetime income stream to the hospitals.
Oh my gosh.
The hospitals are not going to give that up.
APAC is by the way, is a huge proponent of chopping the genitalia off of young boys. And we know, we learned from Thomas Massey that APAC has a handler for every representative in the United States Congress.
Wow.
Shortly thereafter, unfortunately, Thomas Massey's wife suddenly passed away. Our condolences once again to the Massey family. But so if APAC is a huge proponent of this, and we believe Thomas Massey when he says that there's an APAC handler for every member
We've
of
known that
Congress.
since the 80s.
Yeah.
Like that's been going on for a long time.
And so these people are paid to sit down and shut up and allow children to be castrated, mutilated, raped, molested, and murdered.
Yeah, here people don't know this. The drug they use is to castrate these kids is called Lupron.
Yeah.
Lupron is the most expensive drug sold in the United States. So the insurance reimbursements to the hospitals are just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's manufactured in Israel.
Wow.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
APAC is a lobbying firm for Israeli industry as well. People don't know that either, which is amazing that it doesn't have to register as a foreign lobbying company when it lobbies for Israeli companies all the time in America.
I don't think that they should just have to register as a foreign agent. I think that they should be declared an enemy combatant of the United States and then treated accordingly.
Right.
I agree. I think that foreign influence of the type that they exert is detestable. And I was so disappointed to see members of my own American legislature wearing the military uniform of a foreign country.
Oh, disgusting. Yeah, it's completely disgusting.
It was one of the most disgusting moments I've ever seen, and I've been following politics.
So not only are we occupied physically by an overrepresentation of people who claim to be Israeli or Jews, but we also are infiltrated and occupied at the level of the medical industrial complex and big pharma through this Lupron, which is, made in Israel. I mean, at what point do people say, wait a minute here, hold on a second. Yeah, there really is an occupation happening here. Right. And there's an outside agenda. The front lines of the U.S. military industrial complex and the Israeli-American war machine. These people get trillions of dollars that get siphoned through places like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin into the DC Beltway, all of these NGOs. Everybody gets filthy rich off of war, which is why you see people like Lindsey Graham and Dan Crenshaw and Nikki Haley cheering on war. It's why you see Joe Biden or whoever his puppeteers are just clamoring for Israel to expand its war and genocidal efforts into not only just Gaza, but into Lebanon, and then eventually to spark kinetic confrontation with places like Iran. And behind all of this, the one common denominator is all of these people support the legal, unfettered sexual access to children.
Right.
That's been something that's historically gone on for a very long time. And if you look at the progressive movement, Jewish organizations are very proud of their quote unquote achievements at achieving these results. Tikkun Olam is the whole idea that they'll transform the world to this image. Mm-hmm. And they're seriously dedicated to it. I mean, it's always interesting to me that, nationalism is great for Israel, but it's bad for us.
It's a disease for us.
Borders are good for Israel, but it's bad for us. Israel wanted to even send its Palestinian refugees here.
Well, how fortified are their borders actually, Jeff? Because apparently their borders were so fortified that some low IQ goat herders on hang gliders flew in, defeated the Iron Dome, rendering it useless after trillions of dollars being poured into fortifying the borders of this country, killed dozens of people, and then somehow just disappeared and went on the lam with hundreds of hostages. I mean, that makes as much sense as the lone wolf theory behind the attempted coup or assassination of former President Trump.
It's ridiculous. So, I mean, all you have to do is, and this is open history, anybody can go look. There's some good articles that have recently been written about it in the Times of Israel and even in Haaretz, which talk about Israel's longtime funding of Hamas. and they essentially are an Israeli creation. Israel created them to radicalize Palestinian politics in order to prevent a two-state solution. They can always blame everything on them.
But I do want to point this out, though. When we say an Israeli creation, what we mean is a creation of the United States military-industrial complex, because that's the front lines. This is a fake country that was set up and called Israel because the people behind all of this knew on May 14, 1948, when they established these arbitrary borders in the middle of the Middle East, that normie, boomer, Protestant, evangelical Christians would believe that this is the Israel of the Bible and that there's nothing that you can do to question them or to criticize them because these are God's chosen people. This is not the Israel of the Bible. This is the synagogue of Satan, and they are after our children, and they are committing open genocide and ethnic cleansing, and then publishing the videos to official Israeli X accounts showing the slaughter of children as they just arbitrarily, indiscriminately bomb libraries and schoolhouses packed with kids.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way to interpret the video evidence other than it's a genocidal act.
Yeah.
The goal of Israel, and it's a stated goal, is simply to remove all of the Palestinians from Gaza and the West Bank.
And that genocidal machine has now infiltrated physically our borders here in the United States, where a kinetic confrontation is taking place as all-out war is being waged on our kids. Thank you so much for being a fighter, Jeff, and thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless you.
Well, kind of speechless. Why do all roads keep connecting to freaking Israel? I swear. AIPAC. It's important that we keep an open mind. But let's take a step back. That's where I do find these discussions here can be heavy. It could be, well, what difference are we going to make? How do we effectively organize? I mean, those are great questions. Because even on this podcast, it seems as though there are algorithms that are hindering our growth. And I dare not say where yet, because you know what I do. We're a muzzle chat. And yes, it seems like there's algorithms even potentially to Rumble. Can we beat the algorithms? Can we support one another? Can we get behind like this message and get it out there? So as heavy as the discussion is on the rooting out and revealing the world's corruption, that's I find value to the recent episode regarding Harley Davidson. We as Americans can see our direct impact and the power we hold in unison on, in a way, a smaller scale through these companies gone woke, but the impacts we could have if we just carry that over to the bigger stage, ruling out this corruption, it's just as easy. But back to Jeff Younger here. Seems like an amazing father, fighting tooth and nail, making it his life's mission to save his son from this toxic, new, woke, destructive, evil narrative. I wish he plugged some. We'll have to research and see how we can really effectively get behind him. But just even forwarding messages like this out there is going to bring people into the know and hopefully cause that action. I mean, it's simple. Once again, Harley, what do? You're dissatisfied as a customer? Well, call it in. Go in there. Seek clarification for yourself. Ask questions. And if it's all true, then speak how you would not support a company that is funding those toxic things. Period. And you could ask those employees if in fact they are a part of this DEI trainings and things of that nature. And if they are, encourage them to stand strong. No job is worth it. Okay, let's play a couple other things here real quick. And that's the main narrative. Let's save this little boy and let's push against California. Anyone who's supporting this. Got to push back like we've never pushed back before. We're talking about freaking children's lives are at stake. What are we doing? Okay, right here. This is titled The Real U.S. President. I reposted stating, "Are you kidding me? What American citizen is okay with another country's president threatening them? The president of Israel is threatening U.S. citizens, trying to control our speech and our lives. Hence, why I feel this title is fitting the real U.S. president." Okay, this is in his language, so you got to read the subtitle here. "Whoever boycotts us," he says, "will themselves be boycotted." In the last few years, we have promoted in the U.S. And there are now laws in most states here, laws supporting hindering our speech, infringing upon our First Amendment, and more. That anyone who boycotts Israel will themselves be punished. What? Frick this guy. Why is he threatening us? I want to boycott you just for threatening me. You're fighting it. What the? Freak this guy, man. He's not the president of this country. Or is he? We know that Joe Biden hasn't been running anything regarding this a presidential position. Get out of here. Let's jump into this one. Okay, if this isn't robbery, then I don't know what robbery is. Israel decides in USA. So let me see if I have understood this correctly. AIPAC pressuring the politicians to give more money to Israel, which they in turn use to buy more American politicians with. Meh.
Choose in order to radical. Don't you stick things in my face.
Wow.
A pro-Israeli advocate knocked a camera out of the hands of Allison Weir, president of the Council for the National Interest Foundation. The group just finished their press conference on what they call unjustifiable U.S. aid to Israel. The Council for the National Interest Foundation wants Americans to know how much of their tax dollars are going to Israel.
$3 trillion. That's including a massive amount of direct money to Israel, then a lot of hidden costs.
CNIF alleges Israel receives so much aid and special treatment because the U.S. Congress is controlled by AIPAC, America's pro-Israeli lobby. Executive Director Philip Girardi says Israel spends a lot of money on U.S. elections.
There are many Israeli PACs, and they do give a lot of money very selectively to congressmen that they want to support. If a congressman crosses the Israel lobby by voting against aid for Israel or voting against some legislation that Israel favors, they very often will find that the next time they're running for office, there will be a candidate put up against them who is very well funded.
Giraldi is a former CIA counterterrorism expert. He questions why America gives aid to Israel when Israel conducts more espionage for profit against the U.S. than any other U.S.-friendly country.
Wow.
They steal military technology. They steal information that is useful for telecommunications.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel Karen Katowski works at the Pentagon and says Israel receives preferential treatment.
We do not question what the Israelis want.
So I want you to know something. Since we've even questioned this and we've brought this up and we're like, well, what is going on here? We've seen the numbers tanking. And there's discussion all across the board within other podcasters. Same thing. So listeners, what are we going to do? Do I muzzle myself? Do we go the more selfish road and just have line patients on, just have business gurus dive into some of the political, but we won't touch the things that we're not supposed to supposedly because the power structure and maybe hopefully with time gain traction because we'll be allowed and we won't be going against their algorithms? Or do we stay unmuzzled? To me, it's clear we got to stay unmuzzled. But can you see what we're up against? Just by asking the questions, we're now being throttled. It is pretty freaking crazy. And it's on multiple platforms. Yes, even some of the free speech ones. So I need your help. I need your help to break these algorithms. And we must get to the bottom of this. That is, if we value freedom at all. Now, I don't know if I should just compile this into another episode or not, but I just love what Dr. McCullough was saying here, because in my eyes, it's just like, because I don't understand as to how we're just going back to our normal lives. Like, there is no sense of normalcy till we address what we just went through. So I'm encouraging him, tell him, Dr. McCullough, and I state Americans have become weak. We have been poisoned, brainwashed, demoralized, trusting all to our demise. Wake up, America. If we can't get to the bottom of the pandemic, then we just may deserve what comes next. Now, I'm hoping that that isn't the case, that we can shut things down so there is no great next. And then I end with just trying to encourage people to come on to the cast. Because simply put, with Dr. Peter McCullough here, he's just questioning, like, where is the outrage over the COVID vaccine deaths? Where?
When people die after the vaccine, there is an astonishing lack of outrage by the surviving family members. This is very important. Young person after young persons died tragically after the vaccine without any signs of concern or outrage by family members. This is a sign of what we call mass psychosis. This means that people are in the formation. It's almost like a zombie-like state where they are emotionally inert to the loss of a family member because it's happened at the end of a hypodermic needle with a COVID-19 vaccine. There is a shroud of shame, of guilt, of remorse, and a distorted notion that this was done for someone else, for public safety, for the overall beneficence of society. I can tell you, Ted, this is disturbing. When a child dies of cancer, the family members start a funding campaign to help fund cancer research. When a child dies of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, the families help spawn screening programs for these precipitants of sudden death. But here with COVID-19 vaccination, almost a uniform absence of family outrage over the loss of their loved one, unnecessarily so, with the COVID-19 vaccine.
Why is that? Are people simply just afraid to speak out because it still seems conspiratorial or on the fringe? The why is very important here. Yeah, he spoke out on the mass psychosis. Once again, Harari stated humans are now a bunch of hackable animals. Are we hacked? I don't understand it. Where is the outrage? In a healthy sense. I'm not asking for anarchy. Anarchy is kind of like what they got away with in broad daylight. And we're just sitting back accepting it. I don't know what to say anymore. I just don't. You could choose your poison. Golly, there's another clip I could dive into that's crazy. Let's do it. Why not? It's a whole nother topic, but these dang globalists have all these wheels in motion, all these war tactics happening simultaneously against we the people. We don't do something, man, we're in for a ride, I tell you, and it's not going to be enjoyable at all. Hungarian PM, so Prime Minister Viktor, shed light on George Soros' publicly documented plan to flood the EU with at least 1 million asylum seekers annually. Criminal illegal invaders. It's important to see what's happening on the world stage. It's become so telling, folks. George Soros and so many others should go down for treason. Is it starting to make sense yet? War is upon us. What will you do to help today? Joining us, sharing this content is a bare minimum. The way I see it, and you don't want to do that, then I suppose we get what we deserve. It's as simple as that. I don't know what else to say.
I do remember how Mr. George Soros published his plan in English in a Project Syndicate publication. It was done 2015, September 26th. And he published a plan. He said that I'm quoting, here are the 6 components of my comprehensive plan.
See, it's the same thing, because these are the same people that were behind the pandemic, the Alphabet Mafia, BLM, all the anarchists, all the infiltration. It's all this private society, this group, this two-tiered system. We're at war, but yet we, the people, are sleeping. There's a lot doing good things and fighting as much as they can and putting as much time and energy, but not enough of us are. There's more work to be done. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be coming across. I personally, I'll admit, I feel a bit deflated in this moment in time, because with the in-depth dive me and this gentleman did regarding the throttling of our accounts has demoralized me to an extent. It's lit a fire under my butt to an extent, but it is very challenging when it's like, gosh dang it, it's already an uphill battle to do it even without the algorithms against us. But with that, God, I don't mean to put all the pressure on your shoulders, listeners, but it really does boil down to whether or not you want to break this algorithm and you want to blast it to the moon. It's just so clear, all the different attacks.
Seekers annually. That is, he said very clearly, 2015. Quoting again, EU has to accept at least 1 million asylum seekers annually.
Wow.
That's what the first
annually.
Point. Secondly, he said adequate financing is critical. And he proposed to issue long-term euro bonds for financing the migration crisis and the migrants' social and welfare taking care when they arrive to the European Union. And another point which is very important for Hungary, which is involving the territory of Hungary directly into this program, he said that, quoting them, safe channels must be established for asylum seekers, starting with getting them from Greece and Italy to their destination countries, which means to bring them to Greece, to Hungary, and then have how this European Union is working and how George Soros was able to captive the main positions inside many institutions of European Union, buying out MPs and other leaders, and in order to execute the plan which is written, and it's against all the Christian and nation-based political forces. Wow. It's against us. It's about how to change Europe and how to eliminate and push aside all the Christian, conservative, national-based political leaders and voters in the European Union decision-making bodies. So this is the migration about, not just about migration.
Well, folks, you heard it for yourself. What are we going to do about all these things? It's so important we get engaged. I don't want you to be disheartened and for me to rub off on you, because it's just heavy, because I've invested so much into this to help. And when you're just hitting that wall that shouldn't even be there, I'm telling you, it's hard. Okay. But I'm not giving up. I'm hanging in there. Call me crazy. All right, we need this more than ever. Right here, the Bible, our roadmap. This Jesus is calling. This is a good one. July 24th. Thankfulness opens the door to my presence. Though I am always with you, I have gone to great measures to preserve your freedom of choice. I have placed a door between you and me. I like that. Gotta open the door to God. Allow him in. And I have empowered you to open or close that door. There are many ways to open it, but a grateful attitude is one of the most effective. I could attest to that just by simply journaling gratitude at the hardest moments to be grateful has achieved that for me. Thankfulness is built on a substructure of trust. When thankful words stick in your throat, you need to check up on your foundation of trust. When thankfulness flows freely from your heart and lips, let your gratitude draw you closer to me. I want you to learn the art of giving thanks in all circumstances. See how many times you can thank me daily. This will awaken your awareness to a multitude of blessings. It will also cushion the impact of trials when they come against you. Practice my presence by practicing the disciplines of thankfulness. That is so powerful. And I state that simply because utilizing that tool in my own life has given such great blessing that I couldn't do it justice with words. So I challenge you to try that for yourself. Pull out a piece of paper, make a gratitude journal yourself. Just start forcing habit and experience and see how it blesses your life. There's 2 scripture references. We have Psalm 104, Thessalonians 5:18. All right, 1 minute prayer. We're still in identity. Known, O Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. Psalm 139, 1 and 2. Lord, while I might keep to myself around other people or limit what I share, I take great comfort in being vulnerable and open with you. You know every detail about me, how I am made, the ways in which I struggle, my deepest joys, and the future I will experience. There is such peace in being truly, completely known. God, help me. Take the sense of security and turn it into confidence for my relationships with friends, family, and anyone I encounter. Keep me from putting up a facade to protect my heart or my pride. It is time to share the real me more openly with the body of Christ and those who do not know you. I seek your strength as I work toward this goal. I pray God gives us all the strength we need to actively pursue him and bless our lives in such a way that we could start living more and more selflessly on behalf of others and fix this crumbling nation. We are not out of the woods yet, folks. Evil has so many things up its sleeve, and that is clear, and it's fighting harder than ever before. Enough is enough. I need to go for a walk, communicate with our Creator. I could do better. I must do better myself. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to do just that. Other calls to action. You guys know I've been plugging Patriot Mobile. I am grateful for that affiliation. They will take care of you. Just give them a call. Information isn't going to hurt you. Stop funding your enemy and support a company that shares the same morals and values. They are the only Christian conservative mobile network out there. Or just simply click the link below. But if you call, give them promo code Unmuzzled or Unmuzzled Chat. I want to plug EMP Shield, another affiliation I'm grateful for. It's important we get prepared. And I feel that's the best bang for buck you can do as far as preparations, getting one for your vehicle, one for your home. And if you have a solar investment, get one for your solar investment. Another important investment to make is in your God-given temple, your body, this miraculous gift. There's a lot of toxins out there. And I attribute the Bond Charge infrared sauna blanket to helping not just break through into healthier levels from Lyme disease, but achieve a healthier state of being as a whole. So go ahead, click that link below. You get 15% off all their products. You can magnify the detoxing effect by ordering up the Masterpiece Tincture. Be sure to check that out. If you're in Arizona, go to Unchained Wellness Clinic. Schedule your free infrared sauna session and cold plunge. Just tell them Unmuzzled Chat sent you. Other than that, let's do a shout out to our veterans. 22 a day. That's too many. It's another cause Patriot Mobile is heavily behind and doing a lot of good things for. But Black Eagle Apparel gives 50% of its proceeds to the 501c3, Our Veterans First. Yeah, right here. Our Veterans First. Be sure to support us. Order up your Unmuzzled Chat t-shirt and embody that. We need more people out there standing strong and being unmuzzled. Thank you so much for your support. I didn't mean to be too beaten down. It is what it is. We just have so much opportunity. I just pray we all seize it and not stay ignorant. We have to ensure we're not hacked. They've done so many things to influence us on so many levels. I pray we all find a way out of that box, into the light, into freedom. And with that, God bless you. God bless America. Until next time, take care.